evening. This is Wallace Gator Bradley, the president of United in Peace, Inc. And as some of you may know, and some of you may not know, this show wouldn't be possible without the chairman of United in Peace, Inc., my wife, whom you all know, Miss Terry Marsh, who happened to be the director, the producer. She helped me find great talent. And when I'm away, she tells me, or when she can't make it, she tells me to get Brother Amari. So Amari, hooray, hooray, hooray for helping Brother Gator out. And as you all know, I like to always open up the show by saying, to God be the glory. That's the right thing to say now, because after reading the newspaper and I find out, and the whole world has found out, that Van Dyke, this is his wife having a press conference, after she found out that Van Dyke had got attacked by other inmates 4 hours after he had got transferred from another federal facility to another federal facility after they took him out of, or made sure he didn't go to a state facility, even though he committed this crime in the state. I want everybody to know this right here. Speaking as an ex-felon who has a pardon, but speaking as an ex-felon, this is something I want to let everyone know. That what happened to Van Dyke can also happen to a lot of guys that commit senseless violence against someone else who may be a family friend or a family member of that individual who you have senselessly killed or shot. That is one of the occupational hazards of becoming a felon, because you committed bodily harm to someone that you thought was no one, or thought no one cared or loved them. And one of the things I feel what his wife is saying, because there's a lot of other families that's crying about their loved ones that get caught in that same situation. So I just want to say that vengeance belongs to God. With that being said, it appears to me, from reading this story in the Sun-Times by Neil Steinberg, who felt that Van Dyke's sentence fair and say that Kwame Raoul is wrong to challenge. But Attorney General Raoul has the right and the responsibility as the Attorney General to make sure that all things are right based on law. Once the family had reached out to the special prosecutor, and the special prosecutor got with the Attorney General to check to make sure that the sentence that that judge gave was right by law that he gave to Van Dyke. Speaking again as an ex-felon, that judge was wrong with the sentence he gave to Van Dyke, because he was supposed to give the full weight to the sentence that carried the most time. By law, not by Gator's opinion. And you can say what you want to say. But now that Van Dyke has been found guilty, he's an alumni. That's what our guys say. When you go to the joint, you're going to the school of hard knocks. But I got a pardon. Been out of the joint for 40 years. I've had my pardon for 25 years. I'm giving you the law from experience and from what I know. And I'm saying that Raul, the Attorney General, was right in what he did. Okay, moving forward. Caller, I see you. Could you please state your name, voice your opinion? Caller?
This is Reverend Kenneth Davis, and I'm calling you from Sausalito, California.
Hey, sir. Hey, my brother. How you feeling, sir?
I'm doing just fine. Just keep up the good work.
Oh, man, you know, brother.
I know.
You, just like myself, we in too deep. We 10 toes in that we have became strong as a redwood tree. Come on, talk to me, brother.
The good Lord has blessed me to be around here for 80 long years and blessed me so. But let me first give a shout out to the real power behind Gator Bradley. Miss Terry Marsh, I know you're getting it together for you.
Hey, man, that's because you know me. You got that right, man.
I know, brother. You keep up the good work. I don't want to waste your time, but I mean, I'm with you. You know, we stay up on Facebook and telephone calls. And I just wanted to publicly shout out and tell you I love you.
Thank you, sir.
And tell you to keep on keeping on, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Mason time. Mason time.
It is that, man. You know, here, you see where Bobby Rush came out and endorsed Mayor Daley. I mean, I call him Mayor Daley. Ooh, boy, don't let no lightning strike. Father God, please don't let Daley become mayor.
The other part is this.
You know?
I wonder if Bobby Rush is going to ever answer the question about Fred Hampton's death. Well, there's some questions up there for people to ask.
Yeah, they asked. But you know, the thing about it, Brother Monroe Anderson did an opinion page, and he put it on Chances, the rapper. You know, he got his own newspaper now, and he got a following of maybe about 3 or 4 million. So he put it out there during Black History Month for the millennials to know the history of how we, as a people, African Americans, made it where Daley could become mayor to do the last 2 years of Harold Washington's term, because it was African Americans that went to court and sued for a special election. The same, and the irony of it all, some of the same individuals that were responsible for the splitting of the black vote then are the same ones today.
Watch out, Tim.
Amen. And the man put the names in there, and they can't hide from it 30 years later. So I'm saying that's why I'm passionate about what I'm saying. And because
we knew it back then. You and I knew it back then.
Joe did. I was the one
I don't want to listen to
that went. I was for Sawyer. Fought for him, you fought for him too. But hey, man, I want to say this to you before I let you go. There's an individual by the name of Gerald Reed. He was tortured by John Burge, and the torture commission come back and said he was tortured. So the judge awarded him a new trial. And where they couldn't use the evidence that they tortured from him, so that made it where he was no longer the ward of the state. You follow me? So they had to send him to the county jail. So that made him a pre-trial detainee. So he called me up one morning, and he was crying. I thought somebody had stuck him, you know, in the jail. Man, what's up, man? You all right? He said, I'm in the hospital. I'm cool, Gator. I'm cool. He said, I'm crying because out of 28 years, I had my first taste of freedom. I'm saying to myself, man, did they let you go? What? He said, Gator, they come by my cell and they told me by law, not by Gator's opinion, by law that he had a right to vote. So I went to the Board of Elections, Chicago Board of Elections, talked to the executive director, and they sent someone back over there to the jail to make sure that he registered as a detainee. Because all the detainees at the county jail can vote because they're not convicted felons. You follow me?
Right.
So,
Right.
I talked to him yesterday because he went to court today. They thought they were going to let him go on bond, but the special prosecutor said they wanted to wait for an extra 2 weeks. So I talked to him later on today, and he said, hey, Gator, I'm not mad, because one thing I know, I'm going to vote, because they're going to allow them to vote early. People, do y'all hear me? Those within the county jail are voting early, and those of you that's out here in the streets are not voting early. Something's wrong with that picture, because even they know that to vote is important. You can't push public policy if you don't elect the right person to office. And he said, Gator, I want you to let Tony Prattwinkle know one thing. I am casting my vote for her Saturday in the county jail instead of going to commissary.
What a joy.
You hear what I'm saying, man? So I'm just saying this. All you ex-felons, inclusive of myself, because I voted early, January 29th, for this election. Caller, I see you. Could you please state your name, voice your opinion?
Hey, Gator, this is Steve.
Hey, Steve, how you feeling, sir?
I'm doing great, man. And hold it, brother. Terry, just in case you didn't hear me, I wanted to say happy belated Valentine's Day to you. So now I'm standing over the air.
Hey, man, you did the right thing, pal. But one thing I did, Steve, I beat you. I told her when she woke up that morning.
That's funny, man. Hey, listen, Gator, let me tell you something. One thing I could say about you, and especially anyone know you stand on what you do, your heart. I see you in the papers, I see you in meetings, I see you at a lot of places. So it's not just your mouth. People need to look at your footwork. I tried to reach you last week. You really got into it with this caller about the voting. You know what? You don't never have to argue with anyone. The argument is this: why you don't vote. I don't care if you vote for a brick wall.
Correct.
But you got to vote for someone, something, instead of laying around and don't do anything and talk. Isn't that what you just said?
That's what I'm saying.
The prisoners, ex-felons, they can vote.
They can vote. They the most strongest voting bloc. Because, Steve, check this out. If those that's pushing criminal justice reform, from the Koch brothers that was the most conservative, to Trump signing that bill that was a partisan bill about criminal justice reform, to Tony Prattwinkle being about criminal justice reform, to Kim Foxx being about criminal justice reform, for the Attorney General to be about criminal justice reform, every ex-felon need to know this. You and I has helped set policy for criminal justice reform because we vote. We are a voting bloc, a powerful voting bloc. And you know what? I want to say this, Steve, because I got something I want to show to you and the rest of my viewing audience. You 100% correct. You, myself, and others that we know, we true to heart about voting. We not a fair weather voter. Okay? Right. We don't say, man, it's a snowstorm, I ain't going to vote. We don't say, man, it's raining, I ain't going to vote. We ain't saying, man, it's too hot, I don't know why I'm going to get from this air, and should I go vote? When I voted January 29th, it was so cold I had to take off my gaiters and put on me some boots, a hooded coat, a cap, and layers to go vote.
It make you feel good.
Ain't no question, man. You know, my soul was warm.
Vote.
Hey, but I want to say this. I want to share this right quick.
Yeah, well, listen, Gator, let me get out there so I can hear you. And you know there's other people that want to talk to you. Don't worry, we're going to talk sometime. I'm going to see you somewhere.
You got it. Hey, man, when I leave here, you know I'm going south. The 34th Ward Alderman's having her annual fundraiser.
Yeah, you know that.
So you may see me right there.
Yeah, I will too. I'm supposed to be going. You will see a few of the precinct captains over there.
You got it.
Probably see you over there here.
All right, thank you, Doc. Caller, I'll see you. Could you give me just 1 minute? No, let me talk to you, and then I'll go. Caller, please, state your name, voice your opinion.
Hey, Mr. Gator, this is Pumpkin.
Hey, boo-boo.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day to you.
This is everything is good. Thank you for the Valentine. But check this out here. You know, election day coming up.
Yes.
And your little pickle head ain't never steered me wrong. Never.
Right?
And you know I'm going with Fred Wickens.
You know I know. Hey, first of all, and you know what I love about you, Pumpkin? Pumpkin is what I call it, y'all. You know, some people have their booze and all that. I got my pumpkin. And I got permission from my wife.
Yeah.
That be about my pumpkin. But, darling.
I'm listening.
What people need to know. Everybody may have had their opinions about Pratt Winkle. You had them, I've had them.
Right.
But we came to our senses about all the candidates that's running. She's the most qualified, purposely focused, and positioned to be a great mayor for the city of Chicago. And we put our differences aside for the betterment of Chicago. Okay? So we don't have time to waste a vote.
And this is my thing here. They keep talking about Daly. Daly for what?
Right.
I would vote for him to bring my mother back to life, for real. It's been enough corrupt from their family.
Woo!
We in this situation we in with this park and because of the land.
That's right.
Family, remember?
That's right.
We paid the prices for 20 years. It don't take 20 years to pay them people back, and they steady talking about Chicago broke. They're giving money away.
They gave the money away. They paid that money back in 2 years.
And then look, me and you, let us go out there and kill somebody. It ain't gonna take them 5 years to get us to get.
Hey, I bet you this. I bet we don't get 2 months. I bet that. We might get a 2-month continuance. But hey, Pumpkin, but
we gonna get right.
I want to say I love you, and Terry and I send Valentine hearts to you.
All right.
And we love praying with you in the morning.
Yep, I'm gonna send you something. Tell Terry and I send her a text to call me after she see that text later on.
You know the business. You know how you do what you do. Just keep on doing what you're doing, because I know you vote. Hey, next caller, wait 1 minute, please.
All right.
Toni Preckwinkle's career started in classrooms, not some smoke-filled back room. And to become alderman, she didn't join the machine, she beat it. Toni voted against Daley's disastrous parking meter deal, opposed Rahm's school closings, stood up to the NRA, Trump on immigration, and politicians to expose the truth about Laquan McDonald. Want a mayor who will fight for you? One candidate always has. Toni Preckwinkle for mayor. And to become alderman, she didn't join the machine, she beat it. Toni voted against Daley's disastrous parking meter deal, opposed Rahm's school closings, stood up to the NRA, Trump on immigration, and politicians to expose the truth about Laquan McDonald. Want a mayor who will fight for you? One candidate always has. Toni Preckwinkle for mayor.
It's important that if you don't know who she is, know that whoever she is, we need to tell you she's better than all the other candidates running. We have a right to go out and vote for what's right. And what I mean by that, I had a conversation earlier today with a friend of mine. I'm going to say Bob. And I tell Bob, I say, Bob, if there's 10 of us in a room, I got 4 individuals with me, you got 4 individuals with you. But out of all of us in the room, you the only one that can read. And we all trying to figure out how to get out the room. You see a sign that say exit, go out the door. And someone say, man, if only Gator and Bob can come together, we all can get out the room if they just come together. But you're the only one that know how to get out the room. And I'm paid not to get together with you, Bob. So all of us don't get out the room. What I'm saying is this. Be about what's right and don't get hung up on people trying to come together. Let's come together and do what's right. Voting for Tony is right. Willie Wilson can't win. Lori Lightfoot can't win. The little young lady, I don't want to disrespect her by not being able to pronounce her name correctly, can't win. The brother that's running on the west side, there's a state senator, can't win. We as African Americans do not have the luxury to split our votes on someone who can't win, when we need to come together and do what's right and go with the one that has the chance to win, because she gets support from everyone across this city. Let's do what's right. This is history. 30 years ago, it wasn't daily. It was daily in the background, paying certain blacks to go and file a case in the court to ask for a special election because it was a black man sitting on the seat that took Harold Washington's term, was appointed to take his term by his peers, other aldermen. That was the law. That was not Gator's opinion. That was the law. The same black people today that's behind the splitting of the black vote to help elect another Daley were pretty much the same individuals then, 30 years later. 30 years later, people, with the same desperate plan. And we see what hell we call from the Daley that came 30 years ago. I got a great-grandson that's 10 years old. Ain't no way in the world I'm not going to fight to make sure that any other candidate outside of Tony Prattwinkle should be mayor. And definitely not going to let you be miseducated about the dailies. If you don't know the dailies, it ain't about a daily bread. A Bible verse for you to remember, or your morning read. Bill Daley hasn't done anything. He ain't came out and say what my brother did about the torches was wrong. He ain't came and said that, hey, the deal that he pushed about the parking meters was wrong because his son got some of the money. It's not Gator's opinion. It's what I read. Google it. He ain't said, hey, the way y'all cover these things up is wrong that my nephew got 2 months because an individual who he allegedly jumped on died from a punch that he gave that young man, and all he got was 2 months. Not in county jail. Not in Joliet or Stateville. They sent him to another county to do 2 months in that jail. And to add insult to injury, to make sure that the county one responsible for paying for his stay 60 days in that jail because his uncle, John Daly, was over the county finance committee. He paid for it with a personal check. His nephew paid for his stay 60 days in another county jail with his personal check. Nobody should have that type of privilege. And we can't afford to have Daly over the responsibility of that decree to make police officers get in check. And he shouldn't have total say-so on pushing on that FOP contract. People, do what's right. February 26th, vote for Tony Preckwinkle for mayor. Because one thing I do know, all people make sure they keep someone that's African American, once they get elected, feet to the fire. And we supposed to. Whether you black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, Baptist, or atheist. Vote for Tony Preckwinkle. Don't choke, vote. Feel good about it, just like Gerald Reed, who's been locked up 28 years. And he feel like his first taste of freedom was when they told him he could vote. And he called me and I went to the Board of Elections to make sure they got his paperwork together for him to vote. And he will be voting early. Him and other detainees at the Cook County Jail will be voting early on Saturday, tomorrow. And if they can vote, we should get up and go vote too. Don't be screaming at me when your child get caught up. And I'm saying this, and I'm gonna leave it alone. When I see Kim Fox freeing them brothers that these corrupt police officers had framed and gave cases to, and when I looked up, one of the 10 was a family member of mine. I said, criminal justice reform at work. To God be the glory. Don't choke, vote. Vote right. Elect Tony Preckwinkle, mayor of the city of Chicago. To God be the glory.